Okay. All right, guys. Welcome back to another amazing episode. Grow the High. This time, we're doing something different. We're going to be watching the full CRC meeting and the public comments. And we'll be reacting and giving our thoughts. So, if you want to skip ahead to the public comments, go ahead. We'll release a separate video. I'm with TJ. How you doing, TJ?
I'm doing well, Joey. How are you?
Good, good. You ready for this stream?
Yeah. Yeah. Can we get this man off my screen?
Okay. How about this one?
A little bit better version.
All right. So obviously we haven't posted a video in a while, but we're starting this format, and we think we'll be able to give everyone a new and more improved video format that we can keep up with. We'll be watching all the episodes, all the videos that come out, and we'll be releasing them side by side. All right, let's get into it, TJ.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome, one and all, in here, out there, to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission's meeting. I'm your host, Chairwoman Diana Waynu.
It's hard to tell.
The
Is
time
her hair still
11:30
blue?
a.m. and I'm called this meeting to order.
She started that like a
Mr.
YouTube video.
Please read the notice of the public meeting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do
Chairwoman, this is a
YouTube
regularly
videos.
scheduled meeting of the New Jersey
Technically
Cannabis
speaking.
Regulatory Commission's
I guess.
2025 annual meeting schedule.
Like and subscribe.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of the meeting was provided to the Asbury Park Press, Bergen Record, Courier Post, Star Ledger, and the Trenton Times on December 12th, 2024.
They really rely
The
on
agenda and
Saeed to read
information
everything out.
regarding the in-person meeting and the ability to live stream
Honestly,
was
he's
also
like
posted on the CRC
the only
website.
good
The
speaker
meeting
left.
time and location has also been posted
He's
on the
struggling
Like
website
the
of
main,
New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory
yeah.
Commission.
I mean, the main girl's
and
getting
with the
better.
Office of the Secretary of the State.
But
Mr. Saeed, can you
all
please
the
take
other
roll call?
ones are kind of
Commissioner Mapp,
yikes on the
Here.
mic.
Vice Chair Nash,
Here.
Okay,
Chairwoman Waynu.
Present.
that's
We
3.
now have a quorum.
Great.
The first order of business is for the
Woohoo!
Weren't
Commission
there
They
to
have
hold
the
more?
bare
an
minimum.
executive session to discuss legal matters and litigation and investigation updates.
Remember, they only needed 3.
These are discussions that are not
Oh
shared
yeah,
with
they
the
did
public.
vote on that.
We
Yeah.
believe the executive session should take about 90 minutes.
Why would they do that?
Thank you. Is there a motion for us to go into executive
Did the other
session?
two just want to quit? They're like, I don't want to show up to every meeting. This is getting
Commissioner
lame.
Mapp moves
Once
to
Jeff was
go
gone, it
into
was a
executive session.
sinking
Yeah, they
ship.
gave up.
By Vice Chair Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion?
I feel like Jeff
Hearing
spoke
no
a lot. I
discussion,
feel
all
like I
those in
never
favor
hear
say
from the
aye.
new guy.
Aye.
Yeah.
All those opposed say nay.
Jeff, and
Any
when
abstentions?
Jeff spoke, it was
Motion
only of
passes.
value.
Oh
So
no,
as
Jeff was the
Mr.
only
Saeed
one that could
mentioned,
speak back
we
then.
anticipate
But
the executive
he
session
had
will last
the
approximately
voice, he had the
90
power,
minutes. We will
he had the
keep the live
knowledge.
stream
And he was
running
saying
during that time,
the things
so we can
of
expect
value, the
to
things that
resume
matter.
the
He was
public
speaking
portion
mad facts.
of this meeting
Bring
at
back Jeff.
Hashtag bring back Jeff.
12:45. Thank you for your
Hashtag
patience,
my
everyone.
Jeff.
Let's see. Probably don't need to skip too much of this, right? Get back in a second. There.
I think it's not blue anymore.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Time is 1:38, and we will resume the public portion of this meeting. Apologies for the extended executive session. We do our best to anticipate how much time we'll need. Sometimes we underestimate ourselves there. Before we get started, I want to note for everyone a few changes to the agenda. Today, we will not be approving prior meeting minutes today. Also, There are 2 ownership changes that are being removed from consideration today and will be considered at a future board meeting. Application number 12533 is also being removed from consideration today. That will be decided at a future board meeting. And we are adding 1 item to the agenda, a delegation of authority that we will that will describe in further detail right before we go to public comment. So a few updates to the agenda, but hopefully it will actually smoothen things out as we move forward. So with that, Mr. Saeed, can you please announce the next item?
The next item on the agenda is the chair's report.
All right. So, as we before I dive into
He's
the
getting better.
chair's
He used
report for
to he used
this
to mess up the
month,
mic a lot.
I want to note that it's not lost on me that there are applicants waiting eagerly to get approval of their application so that they can move forward in starting and launching their businesses. There continue to be misunderstandings, I'm going to call them misunderstandings of the agency's process for reviewing applications. Specifically, there have been questions of whether the board is holding up applications and holding on to applications for years at a time. So I want to take a moment to remind everyone of
Interesting.
the
They're
process
addressing this.
that the agency uses to review and act on license applications. Once an application is submitted to the commission using the online portal, our staff go through a multi-step process for ensuring that an application is complete, that it is addresses fully each question that is required. All documents are included, and that the investigation of any individuals that have to go through a background check is completed. And so it's not until all of that is done that the board then gets an application and begins to review them. So the board doesn't even get most of the applications until right before a board meeting. And at that point, it's gone through several hands of our esteemed staff to make sure that applications meet the requirements of our regulations and the law. As we all know, there are sometimes deficiencies that need to be corrected in an application, and they'll go through that cure process where applicant is given a letter describing what the deficiencies are and has an opportunity to respond. And sometimes we have had applications that go through an extensive cure phase where there's a lot of back and forth to make sure that the applicant knows exactly what's expected of them and has an opportunity to make their own decision on what to provide or what adjustments to make in their application. And then the board has usually about 3 to 4 weeks with an application. So the board sees these applications just a few weeks before the board meeting, but we do our best to get through them quickly so that if there are any last minute hiccups that are identified, we can get those rectified quickly for our applicants to be able to move forward. So I wanted to make that clear. In other news, we have a new online waiver form. So the commission regularly receives requests to waive a regulatory rule. And so we now have a new
Okay.
online form that businesses can use to submit their
That's good.
regulatory waiver request.
Finally.
We created the form to standardize the rule rule waiver request process and ensure that requesters are thinking through the necessary components for their request. This form can be found on the Commission's website. You click on the Resources tab and scroll down to the Adult Use Recreational Cannabis section, and it's that first link there.
It is worth noting, TJ. So they actually now, with all those people who left, they only have 3 commissioners.
That's what I thought so.
It's just her and those 2 other chicks. And
So
that's
they-
it. It's
How
just the
they don't-
3
Why
3
don't they? Why
women.
didn't they replace the other 2?
They're all gone.
No one wanted the position.
Well, I mean, it's not about
Can I
this.
apply? Can I wait?
The position
maybe.
is commissioner, but I think they get
Joey,
appointed,
it's-
don't they, by Murphy or whatnot? I don't know how all they get
I'll
appointed.
text Murphy right now.
Some of them get appointed by Murphy.
Murphy.
I know some of them did because they're from the original team, from like 2020s and whatnot. But I know the one of them is we got in like March. I don't think she was from Murphy, so somehow, they're able to bring commissioners in, but it's crazy. They at least they kept the minimum because they have to pass policies and stuff. But
Well, no,
they're at
they
the
lowered
minimum.
the minimum.
Yeah,
I think
I
because of
know.
this thing.
I'm with you on that, but at least they're able to pass policy. I'm with them,
Okay,
but
I'll text.
it's
I'll
only
text
3.
Murphy right now. Yo, Murphy. I see you got 2 spots open in the CRC. My buddy and I are the men you need. Hit me up.
Skeet.
Skeet skeet. Okay, Murphy's texted. He hasn't answered any of my other texts.
Yeah, but that's just how we roll, right? That's the friendship. That's the dynamic.
Yeah. We know what each other means. Like, we're tight.
Yeah, we don't need to talk like that.
Yeah, I let him know what the plan is, and we go. Okay.
Next slide, please. So as you complete the form, remember that the request must meet 3 criteria. It must be consistent with the medicinal or recreational cannabis laws. It must be necessary in order to provide access to cannabis, and it must not jeopardize anyone's health, safety, or welfare. One final note on waiver requests is that we at the Commission have seen several requests asking for waivers because it would make their business more efficient. And while we understand the desire to run an efficient enterprise, a regulatory waiver is not to be used for convenience or to simply make things easier, faster, or more attractive. It is a mechanism for the Commission to deviate from its duly established regulations. And as such, the waiver power is to be used sparingly, only when it is actually necessary. So we do hope that the new online form will prove useful for businesses that find themselves in those rare cases of true necessity. Now I want to move on to a few cautions for applicants and business owners. First, we are aware of several business owners that have been posting online offering their license for sale.
I've seen a lot of
We've
these.
even seen conditional licenses being posted
I've seen some
and
of those
offered
too.
for sale for $280,000, $100,000, and things like that. Anyone who offers a conditional license for sale is not giving you any real authority to be a cannabis business. So please be wary of that.
Interesting.
Conditional licenses don't allow you to start growing, processing, or selling cannabis.
Yeah, you have to sell the whole business.
Nor are conditional licenses necessary for a prospective investor or business owner to have. So if you come across these listings, don't be fooled by them. Don't buy them. Don't let fraudsters dupe you into buying something that isn't even a real cannabis business yet. Next, there have
That's
been reports
hilarious.
of business owners spending large sums of money
I mean,
in
you can't
preparation for
sell the license, but you
opening
can
a
sell the
cannabis
whole
business.
business.
And we understand, as I noted earlier, that business owners want to get up and running as soon as possible. But for entrepreneurs, know that getting ahead of yourself can run the risk of quickly turning into getting in your own way. Nowhere is this more prevalent than in businesses' efforts to get financing and when businesses are doing construction.
A lot
If
of
you're
people.
doing-
They're
Frequently
still
see
doing this.
businesses
They've been doing this
accepting and
since day one.
spending
If you're-
investors' money before getting
you're doing
approvals for their
construction
financial source agreement
without getting
or their
Before you
approval,
got,
investor agreements.
you're crazy.
We also
Yeah, you're
frequently see
crazy.
businesses
That's what
building
happened.
out their
The guy that
facilities
replaced
before getting
me
approved
at
for
Boar's Head,
license. Sometimes
he started
we have
growing
businesses that are trying to
before
finish up
he
construction
got all
even
the
before
approvals. So
submitting
he
an
ended
Oh
up
my
application for a
losing it
God.
all.
license.
Like, fuck, man.
We also saw quite
And
a few retailers building out their consumption areas before submitting an application for a consumption area endorsement. So for our applicants, our business owners, and our investors, I want you to know that you are not required to finish your construction or renovation before submitting an application. And you certainly are not required to spend millions of dollars of investors' money before your license application is approved.
Like that one guy.
We at the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, we want to see our businesses succeed. And while we can't give anyone business, legal, or financial advice, we can tell you that if you do choose to move forward ahead of getting the necessary approvals, you can find yourself running the risk of your application not being approved if there are problematic or prohibited provisions in your agreements. So it doesn't matter how much money you've already spent or whether investors are on the verge of pulling their investments. We want you to know that if your investor agreements or your financial source agreements do not comply with our regulations and the applicable statute, it cannot move forward and won't be approved. Which brings me to my final point. Businesses can set themselves up for success by first being honest and realistic about their capacity and their projections. We want you to be honest with yourself and set up realistic and achievable goals for yourself. Biting off much more than
didn't
what you
they
can
go
chew
over
can
this
leave you
basically? I
in
mean, it
debt
seems like they
with few
expanded on
options
it
to
for this
cover your
video.
expenses.
But didn't
So
they
think
talk
about
about
what you
this
can accomplish with the
last month?
time,
They're just
resources,
reiterating
and
this,
people that you
but
have. Think about
they're
how to set up your
morally
expenses and revenue
holding
projections
you
to allow for
captive
cushion
by
and
basically
any
saying, listen, we're
unexpected
telling you
hiccups.
to be careful.
And remember that
You know,
our rules are
if
built
you lose money,
to
it's your
allow you
fault.
to start small and go slow and grow from there. We want to see
Think
our
of how many
businesses
people come
succeed, but
saying,
you have to be the
our
one
application's
to
pending and
drive
are
your
losing
business
money
to that goal.
because we
We're
have
here
a
to help,
place and we're
but
losing
only
money or
you can
whatever.
actually be the true business person that makes your business a success.
She's leaving a lot of holes.
So that is
Real
it
estate,
for my
holding
chair's
costs for the
report
real estate,
today. Thank
getting
you.
approved,
Yeah.
time to get approved,
Yeah.
The next
All
item
the
on the agenda is the
inspections,
executive
all
costs to
the,
director's
retain a
report.
lawyer during that time,
Director Riggs,
the
floor is
rent
yours.
Thank you, Madam
paying
Chair.
every month.
So,
all of it.
as always, we'll give an update on dispensary
it.
openings. These are new recreational only dispensaries opening up. We have them opening up everywhere. There's the list of dispensaries that have opened all over the state, and they continue to be opened up on a weekly basis. The licensing update, we have total licenses approved as of July 30th, 2025. Over 3,000 applications have been submitted through the portal. So we finally hit that 3,000
Oh wait,
mark. A
this
lot of
is the guy.
applications coming
He's
in.
actually talking.
2,300 of them have been approved. 232 of these applications are under review in the Office of Licensing. 276 of these applications are pending resubmission following that cure process that you outlined, where it can be intense and there can be multiple cures, but they sit out there. And then 165 applications are under review in the Office of Compliance and Investigations.
He seems much
Total
more
recreational
comfortable
licenses approved
today
as of
than he
July
normally
30th
is.
by the board.
Good for him.
1,629 conditionals,
Yeah.
451 conditional and annual conversions, 279 annuals, 84 expanded alternative treatment centers. And right now we have a grand total of 357 total operating licenses and permits in AU and medical. Today, we have applications up for consideration. There are 3 conditional conversion applications that we will be considering and recommending. There are 7 annual licenses and 29 annual renewals. As always, we'll give an update on our patient numbers as of July 15th, 2025. Total patients are a little over 58,000. Our caregivers are a little
I
under
think that
4,000, and
was
our
stable
doctors are
from
right around
last month.
1,500. And this is our quarterly reporting month here. So we will give a sales and pricing update, and then I will kick it over to the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, Wesley McWhite, to go through some of the demographic data. Right here, this slide shows the last 4 quarters of medicinal and recreational sales. Quarter 2 is about 14%, trending in 14% more than it was last year. That's significant, and we'll talk about it more. It
They're
doesn't
down like
necessarily show that the
20,000
market is growing
since
just based on sales,
last
because
year.
the price of cannabis is actually going down. You'll see that
20
soon.
down. We will
Total
see
sales
that
by
soon.
month. Year over year, June of 2024 to June of 2025, you saw a 17.3% increase over those 2 months in the year for sales, total sales. This is adult use bud and flower pricing per gram. This is another metric that we like to look at. As you'll see, adult use bud and flower is at $8.58 per gram. It's a minus 2.9% change.
There's a couple
The
things to
year-over-year
note here.
change from
Kind of not worrisome, but just a little thing to note. So like you can see this, they're saying like price bud going down per gram.
Yeah.
Okay, keep that in mind. Now,
Everyone's telling me it's too expensive.
if that's the case, then I mean the total sales kind of tell it, but let's just look at these sales. I remember from the last video, they were saying that the seasonality was the reason why
Yeah.
basically the quarter 1 of 2025 wasn't as good as quarter 4 of 2024. But here, quarter 3 of 2024 did better than quarter 4 of 2024. And fundamentally, not gonna lie, I don't see it, but medicinal sales.
Wait. Oh, in medicinal, you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. In medicinal sales, part of me is wondering, like, is there
Oh, wait.
is there a large amount of people that are moving back and forth between the medicinal and recreational, and like basically they just go wherever they can get best, and it can be much higher. It can be a lot higher.
Well, so I checked. I remember us checking before, and like the price, does vary greatly. Like I was actually just like, if my phone would load, wanting to check the dispensary near me's prices, because like everyone around me specifically complain about how high the prices are, and they're saying they're decreasing.
Well, if you're saying, if I was to look at it like the comparison between the hemp products and weed, for sure the pricing is outrageous. But even then, these guys, when they're saying bud, they're definitely not going to talk about concentrates, right? Vapes and whatnot. Like if it's just bud, I don't buy
they're
that as
talking about
often.
flower.
And even then, can't dispensaries just mark up based off quality?
Yeah.
So technically, there could be a strain that has that
Yeah,
low
so
price.
and that's what I was saying, because like when we checked a while back,
It doesn't say
all the
average.
dispensaries. No, but we checked a bunch of dispensaries.
Right, but these guys don't say average, which means it's not taking the average of the prices.
Interesting.
That's how I'm thinking about it. You know,
Right.
like if they were doing the average, they would loud and proud, chest out, say, "Yeah, this is the average price," but they didn't.
Yeah, where are they picking this dispensary from?
Listen, the sales fluctuating and then kind of misrepresenting the. I don't even want to say they
Cause
misrepresented it
it's
saying seasonal, because seasonal, it's, you could just say it for whatever.
okay.
But the the prices, you know,
Oh, you know what I think it is, Joey?
that's
I
another way
think
to make you think.
they
You know,
may be averaging the prices, but there's things like when you get into like the 28 grams, right, that's when it's
interesting.
around the price that they're saying.
They,
But when you order 3.5, it's around like 11 to 12 a gram.
it's possible that at the very least, you're right, that they're taking into account that ounce, large pricing, which
Yeah,
averages out much better. But
yeah,
yeah, it's probably more likely they're doing something like that than they're just choosing like the cheapest one or something.
yeah.
Either way,
Interesting. At least just based off, the dispensary I checked, their prices for like anything under like 10 grams is like 11 a gram, and then
yeah.
the big boy
Either way,
bags are
they
like
should
8.
specify exactly what they're basing this off of, because it makes you wonder
Yeah,
if it's not that, right? If it's like just the strains or just the number of things they've sampled or just something like that.
yeah. We should, when we get to speak, I'll ask if they can clarify.
Yeah.
So the price continues to go down. Same thing here with medicinal bud and flower pricing program. Medicinal cannabis is
One
a little
funny
bit
thing
cheaper
is,
per gram at $8.22.
they're selling a 1 gram for $16.
The year-over-year change there is minus 22%.
the the the
Here's our
the
product mix
surreal
category slide that
price
we go through.
comparison.
You'll see that bud and flower still pretty much
I
dominate the
mean, it
market at
is
about
just one
40%
dispensary I checked.
40% of
And like I
sales.
said, that's
The
another thing,
interesting
because
thing
like
here is that
even if they
edibles are
they
starting to catch up
average,
to the
they don't
pre-rolls. They're starting to catch
average
up. I
like
think
the
that it's probably
demographics,
because of
Yeah,
right?
if
Because
you
expanded
took a
in
dispensary in
certain,
one area and asked them
yeah,
like,
venues that we
what
allow
does
for
that
edibles,
area
yeah,
so
get?
that's starting to creep up.
or
We think that'll
like the
continue to
more
creep up, and
rural
it'll probably
areas of the
surpass the
state,
Yeah.
pre-rolls
right there, they
sometime here
got
in the near
slightly
future.
cheaper cost of living and stuff like that, and they can
Pounds
afford to sell it for
harvested by
less.
month. Now this is
Better
one that
electricity
Uh,
you look at and
costs,
shows that the
better,
yeah,
market's
yeah.
still growing.
yeah. I mean, like around
It
me is
grew
gonna
from
be
June of
premium
2024 to
pricing,
June of
right? Right next
2025.
to
We had
the
almost a
you
40%
know
increase in the
high
number of pounds
business
harvested. So
areas.
almost
Yeah.
40% more
I
pounds
mean,
were
by use,
harvested
probably the
in over a
same.
year. So the market continues to be healthy and grow. Now, these are interesting slides that I wanted to bring to the attention of everybody. This
Damn, who did
is
this graph? Fire
THCA
them.
testing
They
value
can't color in
averages
the lines.
from 2023 to 2025. And in 2023, you see that the average was 24.21%. Now in
THCA?
2025, it's
Interesting.
27.21%. That change represents a 12.4% increase. We are looking into that. There's an ongoing investigation to determine whether these levels are being inflated. Because of that increase, cannabis hasn't changed much from 2023 to 2025 as far as bud and flower go, but the percentage of THC seems to go up. So we want to make sure that we understand why. Same thing here with total use to mold testing rates, 2023 to 2025. You'll see in 2023, we had a fail rate of 3.7%, and in 2025, it's only 1%. And if you look to the right, you see a cliff at about 100,000 CFUs per gram. Mold doesn't really know what 100,000 CFUs, colony forming units, look like, and there's a cliff there. So we really need to look into that. The data shows that something's going on. There's a fall off. It should look the same on the right as it does on the left, and it doesn't. So we're continuing to investigate that. More to come, but I did want to share with the public some of these things that we're looking at and what the data is showing.
Bless you.
And with that, I will kick it over to our esteemed Office of Diversity and Inclusion Director, Wesley McWhite, to go through some more data. Thank you.
Thank you. Follow that, huh? I thought it would be
Bless
very
you.
important for us
Oh
to
my.
provide a quick update on what's happening with the New Jersey Business Action Center's Cannabis Training Academy. They're doing great so
Oh
far,
wait,
and
finally.
so this is their contact
An
information if you
update.
haven't had the opportunity to check out the CTA. As you know, it is a 10-level go at your own course, go at your own pace, free here in the state of New Jersey with over 60 courses and 28 instructors, all online at no cost. So from October 2024 to their soft
Okay.
launch in
That pisses me off.
What?
They have this
Yeah, they had this last time.
No, let me finish. They have
Sorry.
this star next to the
Mhm.
10 and the 60 and the 28. That means stop. There's a note. Let me asterisk this and give you a note. You know,
Mhm.
is this the note or is it a separate note?
No, I think that it's 10 levels, 60 courses, and 28 instructors is the note.
That's not how this works. Usually,
Joey, for us illiterate folk, that's
these
how it works.
these are bullet points about their topic. That's supposed to represent, hey, there's a note about this bullet point, and I'm going to explain that. It should say star note and then explain what the note is. Pisses me
line
off.
I
at no
understand,
cost.
Joey, but you
So
forget
from October 2024 to their soft
they
launch
want to
in
be
June of
fancy.
2025, all levels have been configured. Over 60 courses, there's over 60 videos and PowerPoint presentations, more than 300 pages of downloadable course text scripts. They've just launched their cannabis badging training curriculum with 8 courses that meet regulatory requirements and 3 standalone courses focused on
Should I
initial
take?
badging
I
walkthrough.
should take this course
They've also
next
successfully
week.
completed their
Looks
legacy to
interesting.
legal instructor Q&A and
See if
expert webinars. Those
because last
organized more
time,
than
we checked it at the
excuse me,
announcement and they only
organized
had
more
like
than
one
10
course
expert
available, and
webinars,
it was like
organized more than 15 plus instructors,
the
Q&A, folks that have
intro.
had legacy
That's not
experience that have
actually a
transitioned
course.
They hyped it
into
up a lot that
the
time.
regulated space,
Yeah.
organized 5 legacy to legal webinars, more than 12 hours of content
They
in
talked
that
about how
space.
so many people
And as you can
passed
see,
it,
New Jersey
or
CTA has
that they had
already been
100%
recognized
success
as a
rate,
national
which
program
was
from various
hilarious.
theme names there. I'll let you read them, but we're really, really proud of the work that the CTA has done over there, from the executive director of the Business Action Center, Melanie, the deputy director, Penny, and Tahid Chappelle, the executive director of the CTA, and their entire program. And as you can see, more than 1,600 students have registered. At least 40% have started their journey through level 10. 19 self-identified cannabis license holders and 44 self-identified employees are already using the cannabis badge curriculum, and they are continuing to stay committed to Governor Murphy's commitment to diversity. So 48% of our self-identification of students are Black, 22% are white, and 19 are Latino, with women leading the charge, making up more than 51% of the student population, and Black women making up the most percentage of the student body. And there you can see a breakdown of counties represented in our CTA. So keep signing up for the CTA. To complete all of your courses, we do want to celebrate our graduates at some point. So on to the quarterly report. This represents Q2 2025. We're starting off always with our awardee application data. And please remember, as always, the full report is uploaded to the CRC website under resources under our reports page. But up until this point, we have awarded 714 annual licenses. 122 of those are social equity businesses, and 490 of those are diversely owned businesses. New Jersey CRC has increased the number of awarded micro businesses licenses by 17, with minor increases across the board for each license type. We continue to surpass that statutory benchmark. We don't talk about this one too much, which is a great sign that more small cannabis businesses are fueling this industry. Our diversely owned benchmark data, 23 additional minority owned awarded licensees last quarter, an additional 22 women or disabled veteran owned businesses were awarded. We continue and consistently surpass both
What do you
statutory
think the
benchmarks by
lifespan of
48
all
and
these
44%.
businesses are? Because they just
We
spam.
continue to monitor our
I mean,
progress by
the
keeping an
average
eye
of
on
lifespan
national
of
trends. And according to the Minority Business
a
Daily
business
DEI report,
isn't
only
long.
19% of all
Like the
licenses
idea is
nationwide are
Yeah,
minority minority
5
owned,
years, like
while
95% of businesses fail.
46% of New Jersey's
Yeah.
CRC licensees are minority owned. Nationally, just 16% of
I
all
wonder what the
cannabis
numbers will
licenses
look like
were
5
women
years from now.
owned. 40% of our licenses have
There's
been
always
Because
new
like I've
awarded to
businesses.
already
majority
heard
women-owned
like lots
businesses.
of
So
talk
we
from
continue to watch
people
national
in the
trends. We try to
industry
watch other
that they
surveys
think
that
they're
come
going to
out
be
that
bought
update
up
this information regularly.
by
But we'll
another
continue to keep
company.
our eye
It's
on
a lot
national
easier to
trends,
just
and
buy
we're
these
really
companies
excited
than
to see what
to
they
Yeah,
continue
make
to
and
stay
them.
up
that's the
themselves.
thing. It's like, knowing that you got
Including
essentially a
expanded
5-year
expansion
clock
licenses.
Yeah.
We can
and your best
once you add
outcome
in
is someone
expanded
buys
agencies,
you.
we still continue to surpass those benchmarks. Operational businesses
I mean,
licensed
it's
under the
cutthroat.
CREMA Act. So
It is
24 so
cutthroat.
They
far
they
for
gotta compete more
cultivators,
than
20
anything because
manufacturers,
the bigger
1
guys would want to
wholesaler,
crush them, not
132
the
Yeah,
smaller
and
retailers,
guys
and
that's
5
the thing.
industrial
It's
laboratories. And then
like
off to
you
your
have
right
to
in the key
like
categories, you see
you
a
either
breakdown
do
of
good
those
enough to
operational
own
businesses.
enough of the market share to
Operational
not be
businesses
touched,
licensed under
but
the
then you
CREMA
get
Act
on the
according
big
to their
guys'
DOOR
nerves.
certification. So a majority of those
If you
have no
sell enough, you'll get
certification,
on their
but
nerve.
51
Yeah,
out of the rest, a majority
and
owned
then
are
they're either
women
gonna
owned.
crush you or buy you.
38 are minority owned. 32 have both
Hopefully,
minority
they
and women
ask you
owned
first.
doors treasury certifications. 5 just disabled veteran owned, and then 5 disabled veteran and minority owned. So we're really we'll continue to encourage people to keep up with their certifications, to submit their certifications, any and all certifications that they apply for as a part of their application process, or submitting them with their license as well during renewal time. Operational businesses licensed under the CREMA Act, broken down by race and ethnicity: 24 are Asian, 25 are Black or African American, 82 are white, and 23 are Hispanic or Latino majority. And we've seen increases across across all minority groups as far as operational business
Right.
licenses.
Except if you look
What?
at the highest percentage increase, it's white people. Okay, so this is okay.
Is that a problem, Joey?
Well, no, they just went through this whole spiel about diversity and how they're so happy about how they've successfully done all this great
Damn,
stuff
only.
with diversity
Oh wait,
and
24 agents.
diversity and then more diversity, and then I'm just like, yeah, okay, point this,
It,
point that, point this, and then
yeah.
it's okay, but just let's ignore that the greatest percentage is actually just white people. But that's
Yeah.
okay.
It also like it'd be.
I'm not saying it's a
I
bad thing.
wonder. This is the number that's increased. So what's the total numbers? I wonder what the actual percentages look like.
I don't think this is the number increase. I think this is from the total.
There's more than 182 businesses. There's a lot more than 182 businesses. They approved
it's okay. I guess they're saying it's the percent of the increases. Gotcha. So
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good for white people. You tell
You
all minority
don't know,
groups,
Joey.
as far as operational business
Listen.
licenses. And so we
Listen,
continue
they're
to
not
ask the
holding white
public
people
to let
back.
us
You
know
know
what
what's
sort
funny
of
though?
metrics that they're
Their
looking for
curriculum
that they
was predominantly African American.
What does that even mean?
Well, if the
As-
curriculum is to get the license, right? And it's
Sure.
predominantly African American.
As in the
When
people
it-
signing up or the people teaching
Yeah,
or what?
the people doing it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
When I feel like that number would be larger. But I guess it doesn't guarantee you get the place and whatnot. I guess.
I mean, just also, if you want to look at it that way, technically speaking, these guys are the ones who are, they're operational, which means it probably means they did everything right. Of the people who did everything right, most of the time they don't need to get the kind of help you'd need from that training, right? Like,
yeah.
these guys usually have a lot more prep, resources, connections. And white people, happen to have a lot more of those ready.
Hey,
Those people.
those lucky white people.
Yeah, you tell them.
As far as operational business licenses. And so we continue to ask the public to let us know what sort of metrics that they're looking for to that they want to know to see how the industry is going. And so, as the acting executive director Chris Riggs said earlier, there's been a 17% increase of adult sales year over year from June 2024 to June 2025. But although there was a 17% increase for the entire industry, starting with key populations like social equity businesses sales have increased by 56% year over year, indicating substantial growth progress in target communities and their representation in the market. So last June 2024, social equity businesses saw about 6.2 million in sales. June 2025 of this year, they've seen 9.8 million worth of sales just within the month of June. Same for economically disadvantaged areas. They've seen 1.8%, 1 million in
I
sales.
think we talked
June
about this.
2024.
When
This year, they've
things
seen
get tough,
4.3 million
drugs
in
and
sales
alcohol
for
sales go up.
economically disadvantaged areas. For micro businesses, they've seen an 87, almost a little over almost 88% increase in sales by month from June 2024 to June 2025.
Wait, are they
Diversity-owned
just saying
businesses have
total
gone from
sales
seeing
of the micro?
27 million in sales June
I feel
2024
like this is a
to
very
44 million
misleading
in June
stat
2025.
because
But
it's
these are
just
just
like
indications
they're
for
just
us
saying that there's
that
more
key
businesses in
populations
the
are
market now.
making their mark in the industry. Although we do share
That
positive
is
news like this, we
pretty
continue to
much
try to work
what
with the
they're
community,
trying to
understanding
convey.
that just progress. We still have much more work to do. We haven't solved and fixed all the problems. We have not turned back or rectified all the wrongs by cannabis prohibition, but we are off to an amazing start here in New Jersey. It's something we can be proud of now, and it should motivate us to continue to keep working
I
harder
hope they
for it
go
in the
over
future. And so
what
with
they're
that, I'll turn
doing
it
with
back over
the
to the
CFE.
chair.
Because have you heard yet?
I thought officially
Thank
that it
you,
was
Director
rejected
White
for the
and Director
$15
Riggs,
and that it's still set at $250.
for
Oh no, not the
detailed and
increase.
informative and
What they're gonna
enlightening
do with the 4 million?
executive director's
Oh,
report.
no.
Again, I'm
No.
really happy to see the breakdown of
It's
the
it's like a dare summer
the
camp.
data on the total
But
sales by some of these key
I also
I hope you're
demographics.
lying,
read
man.
I agree with you,
that
Director
it's
White, that
approved. They did
it's
1 million
promising
out
and
of
it's
the
showing
4
that
million. They didn't say what the other 3
our
million
target
did, or
audience
at least I didn't
that
see
the commission has worked really hard over the
what
last
happened to the other 3 million. But 1 million of
years
the 4
to
million dollars they
inform and bring
collected so
into the
far
regulated space that
is
they are
going through a summer
they're
camp
starting to
to
and
prevent
continue to make their mark
kids
in the
from
Yeah.
doing
industry.
drugs.
I read that it was for
Are there
the
any questions
prevention
from the
for
board
kids,
for Director Riggs or
you
McWhite?
know, doing drugs.
Yeah,
But I would
it's a summer
never have
camp.
Hearing
thought
none,
that it was
Mr.
anything
Said, can
related
you
to
please
dairy.
announce the next agenda
Damn.
item?
Yeah. So they
The
spent
next
a
item up for
quarter of it
consideration
on
is
that.
Decision of waiver NJ-CRC
And then I guess maybe the other 3 is to fund it throughout the year.
and 11.6B
Could be.
under Resolution 2023-144.
Thank you. So this is a rescission of the waiver regarding expansion of edible products. So Director Riggs, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. At the time, the board and staff, we wanted to expand the ability to offer different types of edibles and edible products. Those waivers have now become stale because we adopted rules that captured everything that was in the waivers. So we expanded to allow ingestible products. We clarified our ingredient standards. Since this was a temporary waiver and we now have rules in place and rules to follow, this waiver is no longer needed. So we are recommending that the waiver be rescinded at this time.
Thank you. And just to underscore, this would be a rescission of the waiver only on the adult use side, because we do still need the waiver to be in effect on the medicinal cannabis side, because we have not updated. Well, we have started, but we have not finished updating those regulations. So this is just on the adult use side, but again, we anticipate no change as a result of this action because the regulations are already in place.
That's 100% accurate, Madam Chair.
Perfect. Are there any questions from the board? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to approve rescinding waiver of NJAC 1730 11.5C2 and 11.6B under Resolution 2023-144.
Moved by Vice Chair Nash. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
What kind of discussion we
Commissioner
have
Mapp?
with only three
Yes.
people?
Vice Chair Nash?
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu?
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item up for consideration is the rescission of delegated authority to issue provisional badges under Resolution 2024-199.
All right, and so this is a recommendation
Oh.
from the Permitting and Licensing Committee, so I will turn the floor over to Vice Chair Nash.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I got a list here
In
of
February of
what they say they're going to
2024,
spend the
The
CP
commission
on. If
determined
you want to hear
that the
that.
cannabis industry
Is
was
it the
experiencing
list
a
of what they
significant
will
labor
or what
shortage
they
due in
discussed
part to longer
that they
than
might?
expected
It's
criminal background checks.
It seems like
And it was in the
discuss
best
that they
interest
might
of
because they're not
approved
specific
cannabis
on anything.
businesses
They put
and
out
prospective employees
the list
to
of
issue
what they might,
temporary
or they talked about it in
provisional
that one
approval for
hearing
certain
where they held
individuals to work in an
like a meeting
ATC or
for
an adult
just
use
what you
Technically,
cannabis
just
that
business.
academy
In
that
May
they said
2024,
the
Yeah.
CP
the
went to
Permitting and
making
Licensing
that.
Committee held
Yeah.
statewide public hearings to obtain feedback on the commission's licensing and permitting process. The hearing provided the commission with a broader perspective on the challenges faced by various groups. Some of the issues raised require adjustments to our regulations and or policies, and one of those was provisional badging. Specifically, persons with
There we go.
disqualifying convictions are not
The
discouraged
thing that got
from participating in
mentioned in the last one.
New Jersey's cannabis industry, but instead given an opportunity to demonstrate that they have moved on from their past criminogenic behaviors. As a result of provisional
Criminogenic.
badging, individuals with disqualifying convictions were issued provisional
now,
badges and then
no
were
matter what,
terminated
those
by their
guys can't
employers due to
work
failure to meet the background checks.
unless they fully
This
meet the
resulted in
background
major
checks and everything.
disruptions, not only to their lives for the terminated employees, but it also forced employers to scramble to rearrange schedules or hire additional personnel. In 2025, the board considered only 6 applications of those with disqualifying convictions. Therefore, the concerns about disruptions or terminations in this regard are rather insignificant. Currently, individuals that do not have any criminal history attached to their profile are being cleared in about 5 days. Those individuals with criminal histories that are not deemed disqualifying convictions are being cleared in under 12 days on average. There are certain exceptions, such as if certain documentation is not received, results could take longer. The Permitting and Licensing Committee's recommendation is that the commission remove provisional badging and rescind Resolution 2024-199 as provisional badging is no longer necessary. Madam Chair?
Thank you, Vice Chair Nash. Are there any questions from the board for Vice Chair Nash? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to rescind authority to issue provisional badges under Resolution 2024-199.
I second.
Moved by Vice Chair Nash, seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp?
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash?
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu?
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item up for consideration is the contract award for a safe use public information campaign.
And this agenda item is being presented by our Public Engagement and Education Committee, so I will turn the floor over to Commissioner Mapp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I begin, I would like to thank the staff of the CRC for the support I continue to receive, whether or not it is asked for. The Public Engagement and Education Committee is tasked with educating the public on the legal, safe, and responsible use of cannabis. Some of our goals are to continue to provide you with factual, impartial, science-based information with a focus on reducing accidental overconsumption, promoting awareness and product safety, and safe storage, dosage guidance, labeling, and purchasing from a licensed dispensary, and engaging the community through localized and culturally competent outreach. Slide 1, please. Our target audience will include the general public with a focus on youth under the age of 18 and young adults between the ages of 18 and 20. Parents and guardians of small children, those who are pregnant and those who are nursing, health impacted individuals, and inexperienced users. Slide 2, please. To accomplish this objective, the CRC has looked to award a mini bid contract to a vendor who would be able to provide the following: a multi-language safe use campaign, which would reflect the state's predominant
Oh, I didn't think
languages
about that
and the
in a
ability
minute.
to accommodate additional languages.
If you smoke
The
and
campaign is
breastfeed,
designed to evolve based on advertising through diverse
is
media
that good to the
such as
baby?
outdoor signage, digital ads, streaming, websites, and social media, etc., with key messages being amplified across the state regarding driving under the influence of cannabis, and also taking into consideration that there is also home delivery, which helps in this prevention. The importance of understanding cannabis products, the ingredients, the labels, the types, the effects, potency, and safe storage, while continuing to provide education on the importance of purchasing from regulated
Mhm.
markets rather than the legacy market. Slide 3, please. On Monday, March 17th, 2025, a mini bid engagement was presented to 18 vendors under T3067, a statewide advertising and public relations contract. Bidders were able to submit questions and receive answers via email during the question and answer period, which ended on March 28th, 2025. After all amendments were made, the final bid was issued on 4/24/2025. The commission's staff received 9 proposals by May 5th, by the May 5th deadline, and after carefully reviewing the proposals received for compliance with requirements and engagement, the committee found that even though all bidders offered great service, there was one company who rose above. Slide 4, please. And that company is the Cetra Group Incorporated, which is a Hispanic veteran-owned media strategy firm. We would like to thank all those who were part of this process, and we look forward to working with you sometime in the near future. Thank you. I return to the chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapp, and all the members on the Public Engagement and Education Committee for their work here. I know the communications team in particular did a lot of work there and will be doing a lot of work on this campaign as well. Yes, go ahead,
I forgot one
Commissioner
thing.
Mapp.
I had a note, but I forgot. Thank you to Dara and Tony Ann for all your help in getting this done.
Well noted and well deserved. So thank you to the communications team for your assistance in the mini bid, and thank you in advance for all of the work that you're going to do to execute this safe use campaign. Are there any questions from the board? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter?
Why did it sound like she was threatening them?
So I make a
there's
motion
only
that
so
we move
many
ahead. I don't know the exact
to
terminology,
vote.
but we move ahead
They
with
basically can.
offering the contract to Cetra Group.
Commissioner Mapp moves to offer the contract to Cetrac Group. And it was seconded by Vice Chair Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The motion passes.
You know,
The next item
they
up for consideration
they've
are applications for
almost
permit or license
always
changes.
called for
We'll
a
take these
discussion,
in two buckets.
but I don't think I
And
can recall
Director Riggs,
a
I will
single
turn the floor
time,
over to you.
Thank you, Madam
except
Chair.
for the
The first
CFE, where there
bucket that
was
we'll take up
an
is
actual
the canopy
discussion.
increase. Canopy physical plant or premises changes require board approval. Elysic Gardens New Jersey is requesting to modify their cultivation canopy tier to allow them to go from tier 1 to tier 2, which includes the construction of a 24,000 square foot facility and 7 additional flower rooms. Their site plans and standard operating procedures have been reviewed, and compliance will remain in contact with them and ensure that a site inspection is conducted when the build out is complete. We are recommending that this change in capacity to their canopy be approved so that they can operate in the tier 2 space. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Riggs. Are there any questions from the board for Director Riggs? Hearing none, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the application to modify capacity, physical plant, premises, or administrative office for Elysic Gardens.
I second.
Moved by Vice Chair Nash, seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next bucket is ownership changes.
That's the next bucket.
Director Riggs, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And yes, that is the next bucket. We have some ownership transfer applications. We have 7 of them that are before the board today. Under the law and regulations, the sale or transfer of equity in any business requires board approval. This is to ensure that all regulatory requirements are met and that any new owners are vetted by OCI if needed. We have the 7 businesses. Wesley just went through them. Insa Coastline
Cookies?
Dispensary LLC, Mountain View Pharmacy LLC, Vidu Brothers Cannabis, Higher Leaf LLC, Green Village Services LLC. Next slide, Cookies Harrison LLC, and Wheaties. They are all requesting a change in their ownership structure. Each of these entities
Wheaties?
has satisfied the regulatory requirements for an ownership change. All of these owners and individuals that were required to be vetted by OCI were done, and OCI has deemed that these individuals are qualified to enter into the adult use market. Therefore, we are recommending that these 7 ownership changes be approved.
Thank you, Director Riggs. Are there any questions from the board regarding these 7 ownership changes? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter?
I make the motion that we accept these changes as presented.
Moved by Commissioner Mapp to accept the changes as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item up for consideration is the adult use cannabis business conversion license applications.
Director Riggs, I will turn the floor over to you to provide a summary of the applications received.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 3 conditional to annual conversion licenses up for consideration today. 1 manufacturer, 1 retailer, and 1 cultivator. All of these entities have followed our licensing process where priority assignment was given, and we've confirmed that each applicant is assigned to their appropriate review priority. That priority is verified by our licensing team. A completeness review is then conducted by our licensing team to confirm that all the required documents were submitted, and to confirm that each document is filled out with the appropriate information as required by our regulations and the law. These applications are then scored where the documents are reviewed and scored. And then there's a qualification review by our Office of Compliance and Investigations where individual background checks are conducted, management services agreements or financial service agreements are reviewed, and then a quality control with our licensing, Office of Compliance and Investigations, and our legal team. And now we are at the step where we are recommending that these 3 applications be approved by the board. And therefore, I turn the floor back over to you.
Thank you, Director Riggs. Are there any questions from the board for Director Riggs? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the consideration of applications to convert from micro business to standard.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item up for consideration are the adult use cannabis business annual license applications.
Director Riggs, turn floor over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 7 annual licenses up for consideration today. 2 manufacturers, 2 retailers, and 3 cultivators. These applications went through the same process. They had a priority
I'm
assignment.
glad we're
that
getting
priority
more
was verified.
cultivators.
We conduct a
I
completeness
feel like
review.
the last couple
The
of months we've
applications
been
are then
a
scored.
decent bit of
There's a
them.
qualification review by our Office of Compliance and Investigation. We do quality control and then a recommendation to the board. All these applications have been reviewed, scored, and we are now recommending that they be approved by the board.
Thank you, Director Riggs. Are there any questions from the board regarding these 7 annual license applications? Hearing none, is there a motion on this matter? Is there a motion on this matter regarding the 7 annual license applications?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the applications to convert from conditional to annual.
No, these are not the conversion.
Oh.
Sorry, this is direct to annual.
Oh. I move to approve the direct to annual applications.
I second.
Moved by Vice Chair Nash, seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any discussion on this matter? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item up for consideration is the adult use cannabis business annual license renewal applications.
Director Riggs, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are 29 applications that are up for renewal. As a reminder, all of our licenses are effective for 1 year from the date of issuance, and we are required to review and reviewed annually. These applications were reviewed. The entities have provided the required documentation for renewal. The documentation was reviewed by and approved by Office of Compliance and Investigations. It was looked at by our legal team. And anybody that was an expanded ATC has provided additional municipal support as required. Therefore, we are recommending that all 29 of these applications be renewed today.
Thank you, Director Riggs. Are there any questions from the board for Director Riggs? Hearing none, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the applications as submitted.
Moved by Commissioner Mapp. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item up for consideration are cases, claims, and petitions.
So here we have several regulatory waiver requests. Say that 5 times fast. So Chief Counsel Toizon, I'll turn the floor over to you to describe the waiver requests received.
So as the chair described earlier in the meeting, entities have the ability to submit a request to waive some of the commission's regulations. For the board to determine whether a waiver would be appropriate, the entity has to demonstrate that they meet the 3 factors under 17:30-3.7A, which states that the commission may waive a regulatory requirement if such a waiver is necessary to achieve the purposes of the act, necessary to provide access to cannabis items to consumers, and 3, does not create a danger to the public health, safety, or welfare. So the first waiver request that the board will be considering today is waiver number WR021 by Curaleaf, and it is a waiver of the requirement under 19.5B to conduct stability testing on a per batch or per lot basis, and requesting instead to conduct the stability testing on a product family-based stability testing. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chief Counsel. Are there any questions from the board? Hearing no
Nope.
questions, is there a motion on this matter as it relates to the waiver request WR021 from Curaleaf?
Madam Chair, I move to deny the waiver request at this time.
Vice Chair Nash moves to deny the waiver request. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any discussion on this motion? I will note that though that I agree with our staff's determination that there is no evidence presented in this waiver request demonstrating the necessity to that it is necessary to achieve the purposes of the CREAM Act or the Honig Act. It possibly could provide access to cannabis, but it is not clear that it would. And I also agree with our staff that not having a defined standard for using product family-based testing could lead to inconsistent test results and miscontamination in products, and thus posing a risk of harm to health and safety. And so for those reasons, I support a denial of the waiver request. Is there any other discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Mr. Saeed, on the motion to deny the waiver request, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The second waiver request is WR027. It was submitted by the New Jersey Cannabis Trade Association. They request a waiver of 17:30-11.8C2 to extend the baseline expiration date of cannabis products from 6 months from the manufacturer or cultivation date to 12 months from the manufacturer or cultivation date. And turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chief Counsel Twazon. Any questions from the board for Chief Counsel? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter related to waiver request number 027 from the New Jersey Cannabis Trade Association? Is there a motion on this matter? I will move to deny the waiver request. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any discussion on this motion? I'll note that though I do agree with revisiting the expiration dates that are in our regulations, the permitting and licensing committee, in fact, had a recommendation to the board to convert to have the product safety packaging and labeling committee take a look at the expiration dates that are written in our regulations and provide any recommendations for changes to product expiration dates.
Interesting. They
And
only
so,
have a
I
6-month
agree with the
product
idea of
life?
revisiting our expiration dates for cannabis products, but
that
the
way.
waiver process is not the proper vehicle to do that, and we cannot substitute a requirement for a new one through the waiver process, and thus that is why I am a no on this particular waiver request. It is not necessary under the law, and it is not the proper vehicle for doing this kind of policy change. Any further discussion on this matter?
No, ma'am.
With no further discussion, Mr. Said, on the motion to deny waiver request, WR027, please, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The next
Aye.
waiver request is WR029 by Nova Farms Woodbury. They request a waiver of the requirement under 17:30-16.5 A6I. And what's at issue is our regulations do provide examples of images or graphics that might be or that are prohibited and are considered attractive to children. And this waiver request in particular, our regulations do say candy, food products or cartoon characters would suggest the presence or would be images that would be attractive to children. And with that, I turn it over back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chief Counsel. Are there any questions from the board? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter as it relates to WR029?
Madam Chair, I move to deny the motion for requested waiver. There is a picture of a piece of melting chocolate with on the label with in large letters chocolate on the label, and I think that could be very dangerous to children and confuse people as to what the actual package contains, and that's why I'm recommending no.
All right, Vice Chair Nash moves to deny the waiver request. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any additional discussion on this motion? Hearing no further discussion, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The next waiver request is WR030 by Inclusion Gourmet. They request a waiver of their requirement under 17:30-11.5 E4 that ingestible products shall be a non-TCS, which is time control for safety food item. It's essentially another term that's in our Department of Health regulations for shelf-stable type of items. And with that, I turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chief Counsel. Any questions from the board? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter as it relates to WR030?
Madam Chair, as much as I like ice cream, I'm going to move to deny this waiver. The recommendation by staff states that our policy behind the regulation requires the ingestible cannabis products to be non-TCS, food items which are concerned for public safety, products that require freezing may potentially open the door for microbial contamination in the event the cannabis retailer stores the product incorrectly. So I support that.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, Vice
So
Chair Nash
they
moves to deny the waiver request. Is
That's
there a
their
second?
reasoning for why they don't
Seconded
do
by
other types
Commissioner
of
Mapp.
edibles?
Is there any additional discussion
They're
on this
worried that
motion?
people are going to mishandle the product?
I agree with
always been something
staff's
like that.
determination that
That's
Ban it
so
all and then
dumb.
slowly
the
unban.
of the policy
That's so dumb.
motivation for behind this regulation. The waiver request certainly does not demonstrate a necessity that it is that we need to allow ice cream products in order to fulfill the purposes of the Cream Act or Honig Act. It is not needed to provide access to cannabis items, and it is debatable whether or not it would actually pose a harm, given that I share Vice Chair Nash's indulgence of ice cream far more than the recommended serving size. But I would support a denial of this waiver request for those reasons. Is there any further discussion on this motion?
I
Hearing
hate
none.
ice cream. I
Mr.
hate
Said,
fun.
on the motion to deny WR030, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The final waiver request the board will be considering today is WR031. That was again submitted by Nova Farms
For most
Woodbury.
people, they can
And
skip past these.
They requested a
So
waiver of the requirement under
you guys need to
17:30-16.2F
look ahead and skip it.
and
Go for it.
16.5A6 that all packaging for cannabis shall be of a single color and not attractive to children. What's at issue here is there's an external box and an internal tin, whether both external and internal must be a single color, and we read the regulations to say all would encompass both internal and external. And with that, I turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chief Counsel. Any questions from the board? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter as it relates to WR031? Is there a motion on this matter? I will move to deny the waiver request. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any discussion on this motion to deny the waiver request? I agree with staff's determination that the internal 10 here, the multicolored nature of this 10 does not conform with the regulations. Waiving the rule is not necessary to achieve the purposes of the CREAM Act or the HONIC Act. It is not necessary in order to provide access to the cannabis that is inside the 10. So for those reasons, I support denying the waiver request. Is there any further discussion on the motion to deny? Hearing no further discussion, Mr. Said, on the motion to deny the waiver request, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item up for consideration are notices of enforcement actions.
So here I will turn the floor over to Director Riggs to provide a summary of
Now we get to
our
see who's
first
getting
enforcement
punished
action.
this month.
Thank
Got
you,
second.
Madam Chair. There is no particular order to these enforcement actions. We'll just take them up one by one. We have 7 of them here today. The first one that is on the slide here is Love Grow Company LLC. This was a failure to utilize metric tags. Our regulations require when the plants reach a certain height, they must be tagged by metric plants. Our Office of Compliance and Investigations and the assigned field monitors routinely review surveillance footage to confirm that that is in fact happening. This was reported to us by an anonymous source. Our compliance team swiftly investigated it and confirmed that from December 18th of 24 through January 31st of 25, there were no metric tags on some of these plants. The corrective action plan submitted by the business confirms that they did not tag these plants and that they did set forth a procedure to ensure that they were appropriately tagging these plants when they reached a certain height, but they did essentially admit that there was a violation. So we are recommending that an enforcement action be taken.
Thank you, Director Riggs. Are there any questions from the board? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter as relates to INV 2925?
Madam Chair, I move to
Interesting,
impose
you
a
gotta
sanction
tag
against Love Grow for
each
$1,000
plant.
for untagged plants.
Moved by Vice Chair Nash. Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any discussion on this motion? I'll note that a penalty of a $1,000 fine for failure to tag plants is consistent with the commission's prior practices, where we have imposed the same fine for the same violation against other companies. So I'm supportive of this motion. Is there any further discussion on this motion? Hearing no further discussion, Mr. Saeed, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Wait, that's actually so cheap.
Next slide, please. Oh, you got it. Thank you. The
Like,
next
if you
enforcement or
sneak
next notice of
like
violation
2 or
and
3
investigation filed
planes,
before the board for an enforcement action is
Value.
INV 59-25
exactly,
Dank
yeah,
Poet
you still
Dispensary.
make more profit.
This stems from violations related to alcohol and cannabis consumption on the dispensary premises during a 1-year anniversary event. There were a few videos and images obtained from social media by our compliance officer who followed up and confirmed that they were in fact
Wait.
consuming
Once it
alcohol
reaches
and
a certain
cannabis
height, what's the
during this
height?
event on the premises of the facility.
Because there might be
While it
loopholes.
was in the parking lot in a blown up igloo in the middle of the winter, so I'm sure that they could keep warm. That is still considered the cannabis business premises, and no consumption of cannabis should ever occur on the premises of a dispensary unless they have an endorsement for a consumption area. The business is also selling cannabis products in excess of the purchase limits. Same event. And they failed to collect New Jersey tax on these purchased products. Therefore, we are recommending that an enforcement action be taken against the Dank Poet Dispensary.
Thank you, Director Riggs. Is there any, are there any questions from the board? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter on INV 5925?
Oh, so interesting. Once you put it in a
Madam Chair,
vegetative,
I move to impose a sanction
that's when you need to tag it.
against Dank Poet for a total of 7,500, 5,000 for consumption on the premises, 2,000 for selling in excess of the regulations, and 500 for the sales tax.
Moved by Vice Chair Nash. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any discussion on this motion? I will note that
Fair.
this penalty and including the breakdown as provided by Vice Chair Nash is consistent with the commission's prior practices. Excuse me, when presented with similar violations. I also will note here that according to the investigator, the business did, in fact, contact the CRC and asked about activities that could be conducted during the event. And they were told no. And yet here we are with on-site consumption happening anyways. So our businesses just heed the warnings of our compliance officers. So with that, I support
We got
the
some
fine of
rebels.
$7,500. Is there any further discussion?
Wait, how much was
Hearing
the
no
fine?
further discussion, Mr. Saeed, can you please
$7,500?
call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Oh, that one's
Vice
got a
Chair
little
Nash?
kick to it.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The
It was worth
next
it for them.
notice of violation before the board is INV 74-2025, which is Green Medicine NJ LLC. Failure to use approved areas for trimming, packaging, and storage of cannabis products. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time that Green Medicine had an offense related
I was
to
gonna
failure to
say,
use approved
that name
areas or were
sounds
using
familiar.
unapproved areas. They were using a hallway that was unapproved on tables to trim and package cannabis products, and they were storing finished cannabis products in an unapproved area from March 24th through March 26th of 2025. Our compliance officer confirmed that through the surveillance camera system. So everything, they were not using areas that were approved, and therefore an enforcement action is recommended.
Thank you,
Wait a minute.
Director Riggs. Are there any
You
questions from the board?
you watched that hard?
Hearing no questions, is
And
there
like
a motion on
you
this matter?
cannot step out of bounds for
INV
2 days?
for 2025.
What if I needed space to make it
Is there a
done?
motion on this matter? I will move to impose a penalty, to impose a fine of $20,000 against Cream
20
Medicine in this
grand.
instance. This is not the first
20,000.
A
time
whole
that they have committed these violations. Again, they
Bang.
requested approval for using a particular space at their facility for storage. They were denied, and they proceeded to use that space anyway. So just a blatant disregard of the regulations and the directions from the regulating authority. So that warrants a increased fine for this business, which has been down this road before. Is there a second on this motion to impose a fine of $20,000?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Nash. Is there any further discussion on this motion? Hearing no further discussion, Mr. Said, on the motion to impose a fine of $20,000, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The next notice of violation that we have before the board is Bruce Roots LLC, INV 75-2025. Failure to comply with transport regulations by using a marked vehicle for cannabis transportation. All of these violations are related to using a vehicle that clearly showed that it was transporting cannabis, said Bruce Roots on the side of this box truck, indicating that that vehicle, the law, the CREAM Act, and our regulations don't allow for that. They were told not to use this truck. There was back and forth with our compliance officer whether or not they sold the truck, who owned the truck. But then we have video
couldn't
footage
just
of them
paint the
moving
truck?
cannabis products in and out of the location.
They couldn't just paint
utilizing
over
truck that
the
was never approved. So therefore, we
name?
are
It was never
recommending
approved,
enforcement
TJ.
action.
Thank you, Director
I
Riggs.
thought it
Any
wasn't
questions from the
approved
board?
because it had their name on it. Can't you just get rid of the name
Hearing
and
no
then it's just
questions,
a truck?
is there a motion on this
Well,
matter?
it wasn't
relates to
approved.
INV
They failed
75
approval.
2025.
That's
Madam
kind of
Chair, I
crazy.
move to impose a sanction on Bruce
Very
Roots
honest.
for $5,000.
Moved by Vice Chair Nash. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Any discussion on this
Damn,
motion
gonna have
to
to
impose a
sell the
sanction of
truck
$5,000?
to pay the fine.
I'll note that I support the motion, and what really irritates me about this particular violation is, as you noted, Director Riggs, the compliance officer did what they were supposed to do, did exactly the right thing. They contacted the business and warned them multiple times about this unapproved truck and a truck that has advertising cannabis that does not comply with the law. And then they continue to use the truck anyway. So I'm very irritated with that. And so I support the motion to impose a sanction of $5,000. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The next notice of violation before the board is Cream Retail Dispensary, INV-81-2025. This is a failure to ensure proper age verification procedures.
Oh, that's
This
a
was
big
an
one.
interesting one, and they didn't have anybody when our compliance officer showed up at the front door checking IDs. That's required by regulation and law. Thankfully, they
Kinda
did have
funny.
people confirming identification at the point of sale, but that's not enough. We
Like,
require identification
no
to enter
matter
into these dispensaries, and
where
therefore
we
we are
went,
recommending
whatever
enforcement
time,
action.
we were always
Thank you,
carded.
Director Riggs. Are there any
Yeah.
questions from the board? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter? as
It's
relates
crazy that they
to
didn't have
INV
someone at the
81
front door.
2025?
Yeah, and at the
Madam
point of sale
Chair,
with
I
the
I've
move
never
to
seen
impose a
that
sanction
before.
of
I've
double
never seen
check.
a
$500.
dispensary do that. I've always one room,
second.
walk in,
Moved and
check
seconded.
ID,
Is there
let
a
me into the
any
locked room,
discussion on this motion?
and then I order my stuff. They check at the sale.
I'll note that I agree with Director
But I guess
Riggs.
that doesn't really
Thankfully,
matter for us. Not
the
like we're
mitigating factor
minors.
here is that there was somebody
Or I guess
inside
underage.
checking ID, checking verifying age at the point of sale. And so that's the only reason why I'm comfortable with a fine of $500 here. Is there any further discussion?
Wait. Selling to a kid is only $500.
Hearing no further
I
discussion
guess
on the
it's just
motion,
sorry,
Mr.
it's
Said, can you
failure
please call the
to
vote?
check IDs.
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The next notice of violation before the board is Cureleaf NJ2 Inc. INV-83-2025.
Failure
The
to
CREAM Act
maintain.
and our regulations require the maintenance of a labor peace agreement with a bona fide labor organization. Cureleaf had a labor peace agreement with itself and a bona fide labor organization, which was executed on April 6th of 2022. It had a 3-year term and needed mutual consent to renew. So therefore it expired on April 6th of 2025. At that point, our team of staff reached out
The fuck?
on April 22nd, we advised Cureleaf of that expiration and requested written verification of mutual agreement by both Cureleaf and the union that they have extended their LPA or entered into a new LPA. But to date, we do not have any evidence that they have executed a new LPA or extended that LPA. So we are recommending an enforcement action.
Thank you, Director Riggs. Are there any questions from the board? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to impose a sanction against Cureleaf. For 5,000 a day for 122 days, which would total $610,000.
Moved by Vice Chair Nash. Is there a second? I will second the motion. Is there any discussion on this motion? I will note, as Director Riggs alluded to, both in regulation and in statute, there is a requirement for the maintenance of a labor peace agreement with a bona fide labor organization, and that is an ongoing maintenance of a labor peace agreement is an ongoing material condition of the cannabis business's license. And here we have documentation from Curaleaf admitting to the violation that there is that they do not have a valid labor peace agreement in place. I agree with Commissioner Nash's formula to impose a penalty of $5,000 per day. That is consistent with the Commission's approach in prior instances of the labor peace agreement violation. So I'm in support of this motion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion on the motion to impose a penalty of a total of $610,000. Mr. Saeed, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
My vote is yes, and I will stipulate that my vote is yes because of the calculation that Vice Chair Nash noted between April 7th and August 7th is a total of 122 days, and at a rate of $5,000 per day. And so my vote is yes.
The motion passes.
$5,000 per day.
The next and final
122 days.
NOV before the board today is Botera Union LLC, INV
Oh my God.
86-2025. Failure to maintain proper employment procedures, follow our age verification process, and comply with product sales limits. This is something where they were letting folks work where they were not badged quite
They
yet.
just find
We don't allow
them
for that. You can't do
half a
that. That
mil
was confirmed.
or
And
over
therefore,
half
we
a
are
mil.
recommending that enforcement action be taken.
Thank you, Director Riggs. Are there any questions from the board? Hearing no questions, is there a motion on this matter related to INV 86-2025?
Wait, so
Is
did
there a
this
motion on
one
this
sell
matter?
to a minor?
Madam Chair, I make the motion that we impose a sanction on Boterra
No,
Union
I guess.
in the amount of $1,000 for
Oh, product
not
sales
having
limits.
employees badged.
$1,000 for not having employees badged. Is there a second on the motion to impose a penalty of 1,000 for not having employees badged?
Madam Chair,
That's
I believe there were
that's
three
rough.
violations. Am I?
That is correct. There are 3 violations. The motion that Commissioner Mapp has put forward is to impose a penalty of $1,000 for
$10,000
for having an
they
unbadged
did
worker,
it
which I
3
believe is
times.
just one of the
Correct.
3 violations.
Well,
You never
actually,
know.
no, that was for the 3 I just misread what I was reading. It's all 3 violations.
Okay, so could you repeat your motion then?
Motion to impose a fine on Boterra Union for not following the age verification process
Correct.
and complying with the product sales limits and follow age verification process and comply with the product sales limits. Is there another one?
In the amount of,
In the amount of $1,000.
for all 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. that's it.
Right, so Commissioner Mapp moves to impose a penalty of $1,000 for all 3 of those violations. Is there a second? Is there a second? There is no second, and so the motion fails. Is there another motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to impose sanctions on Boterra Union for $5,000, 1,000 for unbadged employee, 500 for the age check at the door, 3,500 for excess sales over 1 ounce.
All right. So Vice Chair Nash moves to impose a sanction of $5,000. The breakdown, correct me if this is, if I have this wrong, the breakdown you said was $1,000 for the unbadged worker,
Yes.
$500 for the age check verification, and $3,500 for the excess sale. Is that
Yes.
correct? All right. So so the motion is to impose a sanction of $5,000. Is there a second on this motion? I will second the
20.
motion. Is there any discussion on this motion? I believe that these penalties and the breakdown that Vice Chair Nash provided is consistent with the commission's practice for similar violations. And so I support this motion. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing no further discussion, Mr. Saeed, on the motion to impose a sanction of $5,000, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item up for consideration is the delegation of authority.
So this is the item that I noted earlier is a last minute addition to our agenda. And here we find ourselves in a situation where we need to delegate authority to our executive director for certain critical operations to continue. And so I am making a motion to delegate authority to the executive director to decide whether to issue a 90-day administrative extension of an annual license or permit expiration date in circumstances when the commission does not have a sufficient number of members to take action on the renewal of said license or permit. And the duration of that delegated authority should continue until rescinded or modified by this board. That is the motion I put forward. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by by Vice Chair Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Saeed, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Mapp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item on the agenda, we have the open public comment period.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
So, as with every board meeting, members of the public can submit public comments during or after this meeting in writing via our website, nj.gov/cannabis/meetings. The deadline for submitting written comments for today's board meeting is 5:00 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, August 8th. Written comments will be shared with the commission members and they will be made public.
Both. I
Speakers
highly
will be
recommend.
called on
public
in
should
the order
be
in which they
signing up for.
signed up to speak. You'll be limited to 3 minutes.
Oh,
We'll start with
we'll
the
see if they
persons who
actually
are
get people to speak
registered and
this
are
time.
in person, and then we'll move
Let's
to
hope.
anyone who is joining us by telephone. For those who are joining us in person, when you hear your name called, please come to the forward. The microphone, I believe, is already on. Is that correct? Okay. We're going to confirm, we're going to turn on the microphone for you. Your 3 minutes will be noted to your left. And then we'll turn over to those who are joining us by phone, and Mr. Saeed will give instructions for those who are joining us by
I
phone
was thinking,
on
oh
how
wait,
to
we'll
raise their
talk later
hand
about that.
and unmute themselves. And so with that, Mr. Saeed, can you please call
Let's
on our
see
first
who's
speakers?
first.
Chairwoman, as a reminder, public speakers during this afternoon's public comment period will be limited to 3 minutes. Please be respectful and concise during your comments. The first person I have on the list is Keith Wood.
Nice.
The next person on the list is Dr. Eliza Brevard Rodriguez. The next person on the list is Thomas Norcia.
Oh wait, that sounds
The
familiar.
next person is Reginald Green.
We're hearing some familiar names. Reginald Green, no?
The next person
No?
is
There.
Smrita Chubi.
There's no
That's another
way.
name, Smriti.
Every
The
single
next person is
meeting.
Victoria Vasquez.
Another name.
The next person is Samuel Reichbart.
Another name. A lot of familiar faces. Names. Do we got one? Looks like we do.
We got one?
I think so.
Finally.
My name is Samuel Reichbart.
There we go.
I actually came here today to testify on a number of things, but you guys. Oh, good. But you guys actually seem to have done a lot that we needed you guys to do today. Most notably, I came here to testify about a trans employee at the store that I work at who was sent a letter stating that she couldn't work anymore. That was actually resolved this morning. So thank you guys very much for that. Really appreciate it.
How'd you have
It was really
Yeah.
hard to have to tell her that she wasn't able to work. So,
I don't want to believe
but I actually
the
do hope you
CRC sent
continue
them
to I know
letter
you took away the
saying
provisional
you can't
badging
work
today. I hope we do
'cause you're
continue to
trans.
look at
I
that
don't
process
believe
just because
that'd be
I hope
hella
Yeah, I was
worry
infuriating.
that
about to
possibly people
say,
have been discouraged
I just didn't know if
because
it
of the
was
almost year-long waits when they
Some
fine,
other
but it's
people.
like
go
it's
through that
weird that he brought up that they trained.
rehabilitation process
Why
or
is it
like
not
group
just
rehabilitation.
it's hard to tell
One,
my
I know
employee
it's
that
one
they
of two
couldn't
things, CJ.
currently stuck in
Either
that process. So
maybe
I
he
just
thinks that they did it
I
because of that,
would
or
want to make sure
two,
that we're still
he
doing right
wants to
by
morally,
workers,
keep them
and that we're
in check.
keeping to all the commitments that we've made to people to have this be
And
an inclusive industry.
I hope
and
he's not the
work
second
for
time.
all of them.
It's not something to
It
make
was
up.
also very exciting to hear that we are starting to investigate some of the lab issues that we're seeing. I think a lot of people have been shouting from the rooftops about that for a long time. So it's great to hear that we're starting to recognize and work on some of those issues. Yeah, I guess I encourage you guys to just keep up the hard work. Thank you so much for taking some steps and showing us that you're working for us and working with us.
Next person on the list is Jeffrey Miller. The next person on the list is LaRon Jones.
I swear that's a fake name. I feel like I've heard that name a few times and he's never spoken.
And here he is, Mr. Jones
Oh, is he?
himself.
Thank you,
Let's go.
CRC and the commission for giving me a chance to speak in front of you once more. As you can
Oh,
see,
he
I
has
bought
spoken
the
before.
oh Jesus, look what you did. But again, again, from the bottom of my heart, my family's heart, thank you. To be here, give my little guy an opportunity, pass a legacy down. To provide for his future siblings and him. So I thank you. And, I definitely just want to really thank you for being patient with us, letting us cure what we need to cure, and achieving what this is all about, taking care of my family. So thank you. Before I end it, I definitely want to say some final words. Lord, put your hand, put your hands on our application. Be with us, bless us, protect us. I thank the CRC for all that they do for my family
Oh,
and for
man.
giving us an opportunity that they gave us. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Dare I
Too
say,
early to
Saeed?
get the kids engaged in civic activity. So always welcome to bring the little one.
Saeed never started the
The next
timer for
person
this one.
on the list is Andrea Rabel.
Hello.
All right,
My name
Andrea.
is, I know it's going to beep at me in like 5 seconds, so I'm just going to. Hello, I'm still Andrea Rabel, and I'm excited to be here today and to see some of the changes that might be happening in the CRC. Was very excited about to hear Commissioner Mapp discuss some of the potential public education opportunities that are going to be coming forward. And you're right, it is never too early to get the kids involved. So I hope when we're talking about public education, deterrence isn't the only thing we're talking about when we address minors, because minors are welcome as part of our medical program. And a lot of time those patients and their parents are really struggling for resources or community or connection to their doctors. So please bear in mind medical minors when you are going forward with these public education programs. I would also like to thank Executive Director Riggs for coming forward and talking about the THC numbers and the microbial test results that we're seeing in New Jersey. Across the country, those are some of the most questionable trends we're seeing. And as multiple labs start to push back on lab shopping or just unreasonable market variance or labeling inaccuracies, it's important that we're starting to look at the data here and really consider what that means, and consider what that means when you're making decisions on waivers like extending expiration dates. And I am excited you have a new waiver portal online too, and I'm really excited to see that you guys aren't just line stamping anything, that safety is being brought into the discussions when you are making these decisions and when you're making these enforcement decisions. I would like to see further investigation into the labs and into some of the practices. I know a lot of the enforcements today were for retailers and cultivators. Perhaps, if we're looking into the lab licenses too, we might see some of the answers for some of these trends. And I appreciate that some of the enforcement today scaled with the size of the offenses, because allowing certain problems to go unchecked for a long period of time doesn't mean that they don't escalate. I appreciate your willingness to work with license holders ahead of time. We don't want to be overly punitive in this industry. We want to see it grow. Everyone makes mistakes. There's a learning curve. It takes time to dial in cultivation rooms or validate methods, but understanding that there has to be an end to that grace period where we can really see true accountability to be able to trust in the industry. I just appreciate that you're trying to take steps forward on that. And I look forward to helping any way I can as a patient and encouraging others to come speak up. Hopefully we'll hear more in the future, and hopefully you'll have more opportunities for specific discussions like town halls on science or the medical program again. Thank you. Have a great day.
The next person on the list is Ian Thompson.
All right.
I'm listening.
Hello, CRC. My name is Ian Thompson. I am a supervisor with Mr. Jones Dispensary. I've come here today to speak on behalf of my employer and the business that he is trying to start. With a proven track record in running successful businesses, he's an individual that will actually know how to get the job done when it comes to getting the store ready and opening. In terms of what we can bring to the town of Little Falls, just from the revenue generated from that 2% sales tax, it can go to funding multiple things throughout the town, like recreational facilities, youth programs that you had already mentioned, clean community programs. So a lot of that money that the store will generate just from being a proposed multi-million-dollar store can go to great benefit for the town and the area around it. Not only that, it will generate a bunch of jobs for a lot of people who are looking to get into the industry as well, and opportunities to grow, like myself, who want to eventually become things like inventory managers, buyers, positions like that. With the backing from Ascend, with times right now where a bunch of smaller stores or larger companies are closing their doors, having the backing from a proven company like Ascend will help keep those stores open, and we'll be able to keep providing quality cannabis to the people around us. Thank you for your time.
Now moving on to the people deciding to call in. Molly Hartman Lustig, if you're
We
in
got
the
a lot
room.
more
All right, I see you, Molly.
people
Give me
this
1
time.
second. Molly, you have the room.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners, staff, and members of the public. My name is Molly Hartman Lustig, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with you today. I
You
am
mean
here to
yell at
respectfully
me?
request that the commission revisit and improve several critical areas in the adult use application process, particularly around disclosure forms, contract approval, and fingerprinting. And then finally, if I have time, a separate issue, distressed licensees. So number one is I would really urge the commission to consider creating distinct disclosure packages for different types of disclosures involved in the application process, including a package for ownership or interest holders, financial sources, management services, contractors, and vendors. Each of these packages would contain role-specific guidance, document checklists, and example forms, similar in tone and format to the notice of application acceptance, which you guys have already put together. And that's been an extremely helpful resource, but we haven't seen that broken down for these different I guess categories. Let's put it. This change would allow applicants to give clear and official instructions to their investors and contractors, reducing some of the errors and delays, caused by confusion over who must disclose when and what's required, which the commission spent time talking about today, and I think there's work to be done on both sides. As one simple example, page 3 of the current entity disclosure form still says insert name of New Jersey ATC. And so this outdated reference can be really easily replaced with AU applicant or AU licensee. Immediately after that, the question, what is the nature of the entity requesting suitability? There's a limited list here, and so there could be a drop-down menu or checkbox for licenses classes 1 through 6. So small fixes like this can have a big impact on compliance and efficiency. And I bet it would also make the staff's job easier too. So the second thing is to reinforce this requirement for unsigned agreements, but acknowledge business realities. So I know that the CRC today and in prior meetings has indicated that all licensees must submit agreements in an unsigned form for the CRC to review before any money changes hands. And this requirement, of course, is essential for oversight and fairness. However, with that being said, I am respectfully requesting that the commission reflect on the business realities that applicants are facing and the legislative intent behind the rules. Access to capital is one of the biggest barriers in the industry, and we are seeing small and large companies failing every single day in our state. Delays of even a few weeks in executing a note, a lease, or a contract can sink a startup,
You know, I
particularly
was going to
minority or
comment
equity
on how
applicants.
everyone
So
was
from a
super
Okay, so
positive
from
and
a
how that
legislative
was
perspective,
also kind of out
restrictions
of
on
order.
usurious interest
Here we
rates and
go.
shelf
This is
space
what I'm
limits, of
used
course, are
to.
put in place to protect the little guys. But what I'm asking for is some consideration for earlier submission, faster review agreements, especially simple promissory notes where there's no ownership or equity considerations at play. Consider some provisional approvals for standard form agreements if applicants choose to use them. And also recognize the urgent pace of real world business. With my time limited, let people get fingerprinted as soon as humanly possible. Please don't wait until an application is deemed, quote, first review, because by that time we are talking months and months of delay, especially leading into the school months where lots of volunteers have to get fingerprinted to help our kids out and get on buses and teams and all that jazz. And I'll save my last comment for the next meeting. Thank you so much, and thank you again for your thoughtful leadership.
I'm going to go through the list one more time for the people that didn't get
Oh,
a
wow. That
chance
was
to
everyone?
speak on the list. Keith Wood,
Keith?
Dr. Eliza Brevard Rodriguez, Thomas Norcia, Reginald Green,
Is Thomas Norcia the hemp guy?
Smrita Chobi,
Maybe.
Victoria Vasquez, Jeffrey Miller.
Lots of familiar names.
That's
And it's so sad these guys aren't here. I would have loved to hear them.
Chairwoman. This will conclude the registered speakers we have for today's public meeting.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody who shared their suggestions, their experiences, and their concerns with the commission today. This concludes the business that we have before us today. And so with that, I move that we adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mapp. Is there any discussion on this motion to adjourn? Hearing none. All those in favor of adjourning say aye. Aye. All those opposed say
Aye.
nay.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Motion passes. So the time is now 3:20 and we are adjourned. Thank you everyone for coming out today, and we will see you at the next meeting. Thank you.
All right.
Very interesting that only one negative person came up, and I think, 30 positive people came up? Normally there's a lot more, hey,
They get torn down.
things are happening to us right now.
Part of it's like they even here they addressed a little bit, some of the things they were saying in the last meeting, and they addressed it this time ahead of it. They went ahead and said like, hey, listen, like we understand it's time consuming and expensive, but here's some things you can do. I kind of look at it as they're just covering their asses a little bit, trying to save face by not even just save face, but just kind of look like it's not their problem. But we all know that the real estate's the main thing, and if they can get help with that, that's the real thing that they need help with, get solved. Access to actual locations that are willing to take their risk with some businesses. But either way, I like this new format. I think we should definitely keep this format now.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll catch everyone again. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you thought of this video, what you thought of the public comments. And yeah, we'll see you in the next CRC meeting.
Bye-bye.